Welcome to this lecture on stitch classification and properties in garment manufacturing. In this session, we will explore different types of stitches and their characteristics, application, quality measures, and advancement in stitching technology. Stitch classification and properties in garment manufacturing. Welcome to this comprehensive presentation on stitch classification and its properties. A crucial aspect of garment manufacturing, understanding different stitch types and their characteristics is essential for producing high quality, durable and aesthetically pleasing garments. This presentation will cover various stitch classes, their properties, functions and applications in the textile industry. Stitch class 100 single thread chain stitch. Properties of this particular stitch, if you see, class 100 stitches are formed with one needle thread interlooping with itself on the underside of the fabric. These stitches are characterized by their simplicity and are relatively inexpensive to produce. However, they are prone to unraveling if the thread breaks, making them less suitable for critical seams. Functions and applications commonly used for temporary stitching such as basting, hemming and attaching buttons. Their ease of removal makes them ideal for these applications. Also used in light duty applications where high durability is not required, such as bagging and closing seams. Stitch class 200 hand stitches and their limitations. Properties, if you see in case of a hand stitches, class 200 stitches are typically hand sewn or imitated by machines. They are formed by passing a single thread through the fabric, creating a backstitch or similar effect. These stitches are known for their decorative appearance and are often used for embellishments. Function of these stitches, if you see, it is used for decorative purpose such as embroidery, applique and hand-picked stitching. Offers a unique and artisanal look that cannot be easily replicated by any other stitch types which are in the class. Often used in high-end garments where aesthetic appeal is priority. Stitch class 300. Properties of this lock stitches, if you take class 300 stitches are called lock stitches, are formed by two threads, a needle thread and a bobbin thread. These threads interlock in middle layer of the fabric layer, creating a secure and durable stitch. Lock stitches are known for their strength and versatility, which is shown in our diagram. Functions and applications, if you take, widely it is used for general sewing purpose, including seams in shirts, pants and dresses. Offer excellent seam strength and are suitable for a variety of fabric types commonly used in both woven and knit fabrics, making them a versatile choice. There are multiple combinations of lock stitches are available. Class 400 multi-thread chain stitch. The property of the multi-thread chain stitch, if you see, comes under the class of 400. The stitches are formed by a needle thread and a looper thread, creating a chain-like structure on the underside of the fabric. These stitches are often good elasticity and are less prone to unraveling than the class 100 stitches. Function of this multi-thread chain stitches are commonly used for attaching elastic, serging seam edges and creating a decorative top stitching. Their elasticity make them ideal for knit fabrics applications where flexibility is required. Also used in safety stitches to prevent fraying. Stitch class 500 overedge stitches. Property of this class 500, if you take, the class 500 stitches are formed by multiple thread that interlock along the edge of the fabric, encasing it to prevent fraying. These stitches are known for their durability and clean finish. They often combine a seam and edge finish in one operation. functions and applications. If you see the class 500 overedge stitches, primarily these stitches are used for serging seam edges to prevent unraveling and create a professional finish. Widely used in net fabrics and applications where clean and where the application require clean and durable edges required. Also used in sportswear, activewear for their flexibility and strength. Class 600 is a cover stitch. This class 600 stitches are formed by multiple needle thread and a looper thread, creating a flat elastic stitch on both top and underside of the fabric. These stitches are known for their comfort and ability to stretch without breaking. And the function of this cover stitches, if you identify, it is used for hemming knit garments, attaching bindings and creating decorative top stitching. Their elasticity and flat profile make them ideal for activewear, swimwear and other garments that require a comfortable, stretchable seam. Properties of stitch length and density, which is related to our class of stitches. Stitch length, if you take, it refers to the distance between each stitch. Shorter stitch length provide a greater seam strength, but can also increase fabric puckering. Longer stitch length are faster to sew but may compromise seam integrity. If you see the stitch density, it indicates the number of stitches per inch or centimeter. Higher stitch density results in stronger, more durable but also consumes more thread. Lower stitch density is more economical but may reduce the seam strength of the fabric. Impact on fabric. How the stitch length and stitch density has an impact on the fabric. If you see, the appropriate stitch length and density depend on the fabric type and intended to use for the garment. Lighter fabric requires shorter stitch length and higher density to prevent seam slippage. Heavier fabric can accommodate longer stitch length but lower density. Thread tension, and it's important in case of a stitch on the fabric. One is balanced stitch tension, which results in optimal seam appearance and strength. Properties of threading. Proper threading of our sewing machines results in consistent thread flow. Machine calibration helps to maintain accurate tension in the setting of our machines. Needle selection for different fabrics. Sharp needle for woven fabric, ballpoint needle for netted fabric, universal needle for versatile of various type of fabric, including our technical textile or aesthetic apparels. Seam types and their applications. The 5 seam classes. There are 5 basic seam classes, each with unique characteristics and application. Plain seam, that is plain seam in the sense plain stitch, right? Single stitch, 301 lock stitch. Simple and widely used were seam formed by joining 2 fabric layers face to face. And then lapped seam, which comes under the class of 406, created by overlapping the fabric edges, stitching them together, providing an added strength. 516 is a bound seam, which involves encasing the raw edge of the seam with the binding, offering a clean and durable finish. Role of differential feed in stitching. The differential feed setting affects how evenly the fabric fed through the sewing machine. Different settings are required for depending on the fabric type. So the feed dog height has to be adjusted, or the feed dog position has to be adjusted based on the type of fabric what we are using in our sewing machines. Quality control in stitching. One is seam inspection we have to perform. The second one, thread breakage test we have to perform. Fabric shrinkage test also we need to perform when we need to have a good quality stitching. Regularly inspect seams for defect such as skipped stitching, puckering and uneven tension. Perform thread breakage test to ensure that the thread used is strong enough for their intended application. And conduct a fabric shrinkage test to determine how much fabric will shrink after washing. Troubleshooting common stitching problem. One is a skipped stitch, the second one is a thread breakage and puckering. How we are going to have a effect to control these stitch problems. Skipped stitches, checking the needle condition, verifying the needle size, adjusting its timing. All this will help to reduce the skipped stitches on the sample or the fabric which we are sewing. Thread breakage, checking the thread quality, reduce the tension on the machine and clean the machine regularly, because when we have a higher tension also the thread may break, or if we have a lot of dust on the machine also leads to breakage. Puckering, reduce the pressure of the machine and adjust the differential feed mechanism of the machine and use appropriate needle. If we are not using any of these things, these gauge elements in the proper way, we will be getting a puckering problem when the fabric or the garment is sewn in as a garment. When we are doing any operation in a sewing operation, we need ergonomics in stitching operation. One is a proper posture, the second one is the adjustable seater, the third one is the adequate lighting. Maintain a straight back and avoid slouching to reduce the strain on the spine. Then for adjustable seating, use an adjustable chair to ensure proper height and support for the lower back. Adequate lighting is required to ensure sufficient lighting to reduce the eye strain and improve our visibility. Automation in stitching process. Computerized sewing machine offers control over stitch parameters and can perform complex stitching patterns automatically. Robotic sewing systems can handle repetitive tasks and improve overall production efficiency. Sustainability in stitching practice. If you see, we will be using a recycled thread. Use threads made from recycled material to reduce environmental impact. Eco-friendly dyes utilizes the dyes that are even environmentally friendly and have a minimal impact on water resources. Energy efficient machine. Invest in sewing machines that are designed to consume less energy. Future trend in stitching technology. One is 3D printed fabrics, integrating stitch with 3D printed fabrics to create a unique customized garment. Smart textiles is another future technology, what is incorporating conductive threads and sensors into stitching garments for a wearable technology application. In conclusion, we'll be having a certain key takeaways from the entire presentation. One is we have learned about stitch classification. Understanding different stitch classes is crucial for selecting the right stitch for specific application. Properties and function of the stitch classification stitches are understand. Each stitch type has a unique properties, functions that makes it suitable for different garment types. Quality control. Implementing quality control measures ensures that the stitching meets the required standard. To ensure or enhance your knowledge and skills in the stitch classification and its properties, consider the following steps. Attend the workshops on training sessions on the advanced stitching techniques. Experiment with the different types of fabric, stitch types and fabric combination to gain a practical experience. Stay updated on the latest advancement in stitching technology and sustainable practices. By taking these steps, you will be well equipped with excel in the field of garment manufacturing. Keep learning, growing. Thanks for watching.